the dead of night, a backyard camping trip, 3 young boys, each with a tale.
This story is guaranteed to give you the Willies.
Strange events are happening at Greeley Elementary School. The first day they opened the haunted estate, one old man took a ride.
I could have gone on It's Such a Wee World or the enchanting Wiki Hut. I'd like to get out now.
Nobody liked Gordy Belcher.
Any of you guys want a cookie?
No thanks.
To Gordy, a fly is a boy's best friend.
What's that? See, I mixed this up special just for you. So whatever you're using it for, it'll work extra good now.
But Gordy didn't know how good.
Me and you guys are gonna have some fun.
There were flies in Spivey's ointment. Now they're in Gordy's room.
I told him it was a special bath.
Frightfully funny tales of terror, guaranteed to give you the Willies.
The Willies is a 1990 horror comedy anthology film directed by real-life piece of shit Brian Peck. The film stars Sean Astin, James Karen, Michael Bauer, and some fun cameos. The film was shot in San Diego and Culver City, California, as well as parts in Connecticut. The film was released to the straight-to-video market just after Christmas of 1990. It was yet another anthology film, of which there were plenty to choose from at the time, and it was actually at the forefront of the fad, preceding some real classics of the genre. The film is told to us via scary camp stories from a backyard campout, in which Rudy himself is taking part for some reason. Now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder how big of a marketing scheme it was to have a title similar to the Goonies, with Sean Astin on the cover. I mean, something tells me they were aware.
No, wait a minute. This isn't that dumb story about the time you and your friends found that pirate ship in an old cave? No, it's better than that.
The intro of the film might be my favorite part, in which we get a mini horror anthology of some basic adolescent tales. You know, like the corpse at the carnival.
Let me out of here, please! Help!
The Fried Rat. And everybody knows about drying your dog in the microwave, right?
There we go. You're all done.
The film has its fair share of cameos, as said before. Hell, before the title of the film, we see some Twin Peaks alums fitting right in. Well, sorta. We also get a standout performance from veteran character actor Bill Irwin, and an early cameo from comedian and cinephile Doug Benson. Weird. The film is split up into 2 segments. The first being about a young, bullied boy discovering a monster living in the school's bathroom, which gives him a perfect in for some spooky revenge. It's a cool little monster story with some worthwhile effects from Alterian Studios, the same guys behind film effects in The Craft, Army of Darkness, and the Oscar-winning Bad Grandpa, pulling off a damn good James Karen mask, if I might say so myself. But where this one suffers is with the cringy child acting, overlong runtime, and the lost cinematography.
Titmarsh, Miss Titmarsh, there's a monster in the bathroom. Monsters in the bathroom.
Quiet down. This class is trying to concentrate. What on earth are you talking about?
There's a monster in the bathroom. I saw it.
Which kind of makes sense when you realize the first segment was a short film shot by the human trash pile Brian Peck years earlier in 1985. Which is why old Ben Seaver's kind of young, another strange cameo. But it has a pretty cool payoff and some standout effects. Up next, we get the sad tale of Donkey Lips. Gordy Belcher.
This thing came apart.
A fly-obsessed, overweight outsider who takes his obsession to the ultimate limit with the help of a maniacal farmer. This is definitely my favorite of the bunch. It's an obvious spike in quality compared to the first, as far as pacing and story goes. This feels like it could have been on Tales from the Crypt or something, definitely having a classic EC Comics feel to it. I think it would even feel right in place in a bigger anthology production, actually. It'll probably fit in well with something like Body Bags, for instance. But here, it brings a certain whimsical charm that doesn't overwhelm, as this story has a pretty fucked up conclusion. Here we actually get a pretty good performance from Donkey Lips. Michael Bauer as Gordy Belcher. Really fitting in the role just perfectly. A kid you'd feel horrible for, but just can't really like too much either. Yeah, you know that guy. We all do. This is indeed a weird one. Most anthology movies have at least 3 main segments. This one we only get 2. And there's usually some kind of theme. I guess here we get a theme of bullied kids getting into some shit. The classic comeuppance angle playing out for the first segment, not so much for the second. Then before the movie ends, Rudy's dad turns out to be the bathroom monster, and assumingly eats his nephews?
It really happened all right. Every word of it.
Prove it, Dad.
Yeah. Prove it to us, Uncle Henry.
You really think I should?
Go for it.
All right.
In their own backyard? What the fuck, man? Not much information is available on this film. I could not find one person involved who spoke about it on record, and it wasn't until looking a little deeper I kinda came up with the theory as of why. As mentioned before, this movie was directed by actual scum Brian Peck, who was charged with 11 counts including lewd acts upon a child, and some other stuff. It just gets worse from there. In the end, he pleaded no contest to 2 counts, and the court found him guilty of both. The remaining counts were dismissed, but Peck was convicted in October 2004 and sentenced to 16 months in jail. But after completing his sentence, returned to Hollywood and resumed his work as an actor and dialogue coach, sometimes on shows with kids. Now I only mention this because, well, everyone should know. And also, I found it very odd how this movie was made using seemingly every connection Peck had made in the industry. You see, he had been acting in films for years, his first being the teen sex comedy remake from Canon, The Last American Virgin, starring Willies' co-star Kimmy Robertson, and most notably as Scuzz in Return of the Living Dead with Willies' co-star James Karen. And Peck also had a role in the sequel with Willies' co-star Dana Ashbrook, a movie which also had a cameo from comedian Doug Benson, again playing a zombie. And Peck even showed up in part 3, so that explains why he was able to get these crazy cameos. But what's up with these Growing Pains connections? As far as I could find, there's no similar producers and such, but this movie has 4 cast members: Ben, Mike, his wife Kate, and sister Carol Seaver, in a low-budget horror movie. What the hell? Even the other kids in the tent are in multiple episodes of Growing Pains. Even though one of them is credited as Joshua John Miller on IMDb, he's not. Even Peck was on a good amount of Growing Pains episodes, where I'm sure he sparked up some great friendships with the cast, because why else would they agree to be in this movie? I have no idea, but this was definitely Peck's first foray into TV work, where he would eventually thrive and become a human monster.
Leo, as you know, is the latest, hottest, hunkiest teen idol there is.
Yeah, his muscles.
Look, speaking of hunky, huh?
I highly recommend you watch the film An Open Secret to learn more about Peck's exploits. I just find it odd and honestly hilarious that someone like Kirk Cameron is involved with a movie like this. Clearly, having Cameron on his side culminated in a Growing Pains crossover into a horror film, as his close, personal friendship with Cameron resulted in hands down the best cameo in horror movie history. Now, there's a lot of iconic scenes in this film. Let me show you my favorite one.
Mike, you disgust me. Sometimes I'm surprised we're related.
Well, Carol, I think you're old enough to know. We're not. You're adopted.
Either way, you're still a pig.
Carol, relax. These flies aren't for me. They're for Gordy Belcher.
Isn't that crazy? That was shot on the Growing Pains set. Laugh tracks and all. Insane. What would Jesus think, Kirk? Come on, man. All the cast that was already recognized went on to do nothing. The film fell in obscurity among the 90s direct-to-video boom, although it was a welcome addition to any video store rack. And Cameron, well, he went on to completely lose his mind. The film received largely negative reviews, but has gathered a very limited cult following throughout the decades. Remembered fondly from the kids who were on the direct-to-video front lines in the 90s, but not really by anybody else. But sadly, with an asshole like Brian Peck as director, and the involvement of Kirk Cameron, the film will most likely never see any more light of day than it already has. There are a few different edits of the film, the VHS and DVD notably missing some voiceovers from Sean Astin, and seemingly a cut with a strange prosthetic puppet, Crypt Keeper-esque narrator in the place of the kids exists somewhere.
Nah, well, what about the lady who used the microwave to dry off her poodle?
Here we go, Poopers. Oh, Mama, little baby, he's gonna be so happy.
Then I thought to myself, maggots. I mean, who doesn't love a story about nasty, smelly, rotten little flies and their offspring, the maggots? Now, we all love flies, but no one, and I mean no one, loved them more than Gordy Belcher. Where are you going?
There was a cool little comic book tie-in that is basically impossible to find. Trust me, I've been looking for a while. But alas, sadly, we'll most likely never know. However, I did manage to track down CHET ZAR, who worked on the film directly with Alterian Studios effects, and went on to do some insanely amazing work on other productions. And although memories are a bit sketchy, it was an opportunity to shed some more light on this bizarre little movie. Let's take a look at that.
The Willies was, I really have no memory of it. Well, actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, because the Willies, now, I don't remember anything about the Willies. I have no memory of it, except I'm pretty sure that the fly guy, the flies, we made that fly mask. I think that was sculpted. I could be wrong. This was a long time ago, but we ended up using, I'm not sure which came first, but the fly mask actually was also a mask that you could buy, because Tony Gardner, Alterian Studios, started a mask company right around that same time. And he had a mask, and it was that fly mask. And it was either that they used the fly mask for the Willies, or they sculpted the mask for the Willies and used it for the mask company. I'm not sure which. Yeah, but the Willies, I'm pretty sure that was a friend of Tony's that did that. It was really tiny. There wasn't a lot of stuff in it. Nah, you know, James Karen is in the Willies, right? That character actor. That means didn't he did a thing where there was like he tears his face off or pulls. Yeah, that's weird. You know the puppet monster, the monster. I don't think we did that. I think that was like, I don't think so, because I don't remember ever seeing that in the shop. I think that was either like maybe the on set person did it or something, and Tony just filled in some other effects. But I'm pretty sure we did the James Karen thing. I may have even sculpted on that effect, but I do remember he did come in the shop, and we did his live cast, and he was fucking cool as hell. James Karen was awesome, man. He was like the coolest guy. He was so funny, really laid back. He wasn't a dick at all. He didn't have an attitude. He was like super chill, really nice guy. And when they put all the stuff in his face, there's this alginate stuff, and you just breathe through your nose. He said, as a practical joke, they got the stuff on his face, and he just kind of went limp. And then they were like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And he wouldn't answer them. Like he was acting like he died. And they started to take it, like they're about to rip it off, and he's like, no, I'm just kidding. That's the kind of guy he was. He was cool like that.
These flies aren't for me. They're for Gordy Belcher.
Yeah, that was totally crazy. I was like, what? That's probably where they spent their money. You know? That's where the budget went. But it was such a bomb when it came out. It really you couldn't even get it anywhere to see it. It was weird. Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed the Season 2 premiere. I am Alex Staunch, and I love weird movies. Let me know some of your favorites down in the comments, and be sure to subscribe. Check out my award-winning documentary while it's still up for free, and catch up with Staunch on Film Season 1 and the new episodes of the Return series. A lot of great stuff coming up as far as Staunch on Film Season 2 goes, but I won't spoil all the fun here. Catch me Wednesdays at 9 p.m. with Lost in the Staunch, only on modsnapradio.com for extended interviews and extra special guests. Also, I'll be jamming some hot tunes. Until next time, folks.
Stay off my land.
Stay lost.